Welcome, world. You are in tune to Marvelous Talk with your usual suspects. Your guy, Big G, the comic book hero himself, man. G, how you doing today, bro?
Man, I'm feeling real good, man. I got an opportunity to check out some Obi-Wan Kenobi this evening when I got home from out of town, and it didn't disappoint. But we're gonna get into that.
Oh man, did it ever do the job, man? Listen, definitely we want to make sure that when we are here and we are live, we want to make sure you guys get the opportunity to be here with us and rock out. Make sure you like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook. Definitely subscribe on Twitch and YouTube so that when we go live, you'll be able to catch us there. You'll get that notification. Look, man, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I gotta say, right off the rip, shout out first and foremost to Max, man. Shout out to Max. We miss your energy. Definitely have you back on the broadcast this next weekend. But
Yes.
yeah, man, it has some stuff to do. We happy. You out there happy and smiling. Look, so Obi-Wan Kenobi, man, it starts out this week. He's meditating, still trying to get through the Qui-Gon, right? Still trying to get through the Qui-Gon. He's meditating. She comes back. Leia comes back, and they get to the planet on this transit route. And before they get to the planet on this transit route, we kind of have this makeshift phone call between Third Sister and Vader. And she's talking to Vader, and Vader's like, "Yo, I know what you want. I know what you craving." And she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna make him pay for the Grand Inquisitor's death." And he's like, "Man, I don't care nothing about the Grand Inquisitor. Screw the Grand Inquisitor." You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Basically, just showing you he's full blood Vader at this point. He's
Yeah.
full blown Darth Vader. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Now, as Obi-Wan is meditating, Vader's getting dressed for the grind.
Yeah.
So you're showing on one hand Obi-Wan meditating, on the other hand, Vader, Anakin being dressed for the grind. So they get to the planet because they were on this trade ship. And Obi-Wan's still doubting the help from the fake Jedi that he received in the planet when he went to go receive or retrieve Leia. And so definitely they're on this, and Leia's telling him, you finding this so hard to believe that somebody wanted to help. So they get to where they're supposed to be. And but back to the phone call, I don't want to jump around. Back to the phone call between Vader and the Third Sister. Vader tells her, "I know what you want. And
Yeah.
guess what? You'll get it if we get it. But if you fail me, you're gonna be dead." Basically,
Right. Yeah.
Vader's not playing with him at this point, playing with her at this point. So, Obi-Wan back on the planet, they're walking to the location. As they're walking to the location, kind of like, i.e. Django seeing his wife as he's riding up, he's thinking Obi is seeing visions of Anakin in his his cloak, definitely there. And then this guy stops and tries to give him a hand, and here Leia goes again, man. Leia just doesn't listen to what's being said. She wants to do her own thing and be independent, and reminds you a lot of her mother, because the mother did this whole thing in the first episode, got herself in trouble, and then had to be bailed out, right?
Right. Right.
So they get in the truck, and then when he gets in the truck, he looks, and there's this Empire sticker on the back, like an Empire bumper sticker on the back of this guy as they're traversing. So they're moving, and if they're moving through, he's like, he picks up some stormtroopers, and he's like, "Yeah, we're looking for some Jedi. We're looking for a Jedi." And they're like, "Yeah, well, where y'all from?" And he's like, "We're farmers from Tall. This is my daughter Luma. And my name is Owen, right?"
Right.
And so he's talking to the stormtrooper, and the stormtrooper says, "What are y'all doing out here in the middle of nowhere?" He's like, "Man, we just came to see family." And Leah starts talking. He was like, "Leah," and they was like, "Oh, I thought you said her name was Luma," And at this point, we're gonna get into it, but because I could see you itching, because I was there too. I was thinking what you were thinking, and so at this point, they're almost getting caught. They're almost to the place where they're gonna get caught, and so we move and matriculate past that point, and they find out where Obi was, because there's this probe. They ended up stopping at a check. The guy was crooked, like Obi-Wan thought. They stopped there to check, and they were in this truck because of the simple fact that when they went to the place, they didn't stay long enough. The contact that they were waiting on was coming, but was late, right? So, definitely at this point, they're in this debacle, and Obi-Wan has to use the blaster to kill all the stormtroopers. And when they kill all the stormtroopers, there's a colonel in the Empire Army that shows up with some more stormtroopers, and he thought it was curtains at that point. He thought it was curtains. He wakes up to her blasting all the men. He found out that she's the rebel. And then we go back to the scene that we saw where all the Inquisitors were at. And you have the Inquisitor, who's played by Han, who uses the Force to tell Reva, hey, man, what is your problem? Like, realistically, you tripping. He's like, you're not going to take what's mine. And she was like, well, Vader talked to me. She's name dropping. Vader talked to me. So, if you want to explain it to Vader, then cool. You know what I'm saying? And as we fast forward a little, we got the Colonel taking them into town, showing them, where Jedis have been smuggled, sort of like the Underground Railroad. And definitely, you get a chance to see names on the wall and everything. I'm sure Sean has commentary about that. It has to get a chance to see names on the wall. Then here comes the big reveal. Obi-Wan gets this big punch in his gut, and he's panting, just panting. And as he's panting, now these are spoilers. I forgot to say this. Spoilers, if you hadn't seen it, make sure you turn this off. You shouldn't have even got this far, and come back and see it afterwards. So definitely he gets this pain in his gut. And when he does, he walks to the window, and guess what? He sees Anakin full-blown Vader, using the Force, choking people out, killing people. And, definitely at this point, he tells his host and Leia, go ahead without me. I'm going to lead him away from y'all so y'all can get away. And basically, they take off down the tunnel. Obi-Wan gets out, and he starts leading Vader away. They ensue to a whole fight scene where in the end, the girl that was leading Leia left Leia to go help Obi, found Obi, took him back to the plane, and they left. But in the process, Leia was recaptured. Now, Big G, give me your thoughts on this episode, bro.
I think first of all, I really, really do enjoy the Obi-Wan show. I really think that it's a great Disney Plus series. I said it already. I think it's one of the best Disney Plus series they had. I just think that they crammed a little much into this episode. I think that they're trying to push the narrative of Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader, aka Anakin Skywalker, to the point of they missed out on the ability for the audience to be able to gravitate towards the pain and suffering that Obi-Wan's actually going through as a Jedi. And they want to move to the narrative of the good versus the bad, or the dark versus the light, right? And it's hard for some people, because I've talked to a lot of people after I got done watching the show this afternoon. I talked to several people about it, and they were like, man, it was hard to get into it because they were moving so fast to try to get to that Obi-Wan, which was Obi-Wan versus Anakin, or Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader, which was a great scenario, right? But I just think that I hope that they don't try to push us over the ledge with buying into the narrative of Obi-Wan versus Vader versus telling a story about Obi-Wan Kenobi, because they're missing opportunities to share with folks what it really feels like to be a failure, what it really is like to go through trauma based on the fact that everything you ever thought is gone. They did a great job with the first two episodes, but to have Vader show up full-blown costume in episode 3, man, they mashed the gas. So that's what it was a great episode, but I just think there was just a lot to show up in episode 3, knowing that we're only, how many we're getting, 6 or 7? Knowing
only
that
have 3. We only have 3 more episodes up. This was 6. So this
Right.
was a mid-season episode.
Yeah.
So you had to kind of go here, Sean. I mean, if you think about it, Big G, you had to kind of land the plane here. If not, you can't get there, towards the end of the episodes.
Well, so this now, and I'm gonna go back to what I was saying about the episode as well. Canon Star Wars lovers that know the comic book, know the novels. Max is our guy with that, but I know other folks that's like that. They said this don't make no sense because when did Vader and Obi-Wan meet up? We know that they met up at the beginning of Star Wars 1, A New Hope. They fought before, they knew, and they were like, wait a minute, Leia knew Obi-Wan before? How that it don't make no sense. So that's why I'm saying like they're
Leia did know Obi-Wan. Leia did know Obi-Wan before. She did. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope. So Leia did know Obi-Wan Kenobi before, right?
Right.
So Leia absolutely did. There was I had no problem with the Leia portion. Mm-hmm. I did have a problem with Vader and Obi-Wan meeting because from my impression, this was the first time that they seen each other. Now, as I was watching this in The New Hope, that was the first time that I thought that they saw each other. Now, as I was watching the episode, I did think about you in the sense where you were saying, well, maybe in the Bacta tank, Vader's mind is being wiped and he forgets that they met each other.
Right.
Obi-Wan did say, oh, he's mainly machine more than he is man. So he had some talk about him, you know what I'm saying? And he did say that Vader's basically he had some talk like, yo, your dad's dead. Vader's took over. Vader's this guy. You know what I'm saying? Right. So he was. I thought you said your dad was dead. I thought you said my dad was dead. Yeah, no, Vader killed him.
Right.
Vader becomes somebody else. Right. So he had some not working knowledge of Vader. Never said he didn't see him. He had some working knowledge of him too.
Yeah, it's like I said. It's just I love the show. Really, like I said, because I love Star Wars just in general. I love the show, but they're moving real fast. And I get it. I understand that they got to move fast. But in the episode, the one thing about, and I guess I'm doing a raw comparison, the one thing about telling a story in the Marvel Disney Plus series and the Marvel movies, right, that's on Disney, that's owned by Disney, that Feige does, they don't leave a lot of plot holes. Like if they start with an origin story or story about a person, they're going to carry that sucker from the beginning to the end. And like this story with Obi-Wan, I think they're taking for granted to believe that everybody knows who Obi-Wan Kenobi was. And they're focusing more on the issue between Obi-Wan and Vader and his inability to reach Qui-Gon Jinn. And I'm like, wait a minute, man, did y'all moving? And I get it. And they're tying in a sort of backstory with the Inquisitors. Right. But it's like they're relevant, but they're not, because the main one, the Grand Inquisitor, and if you know anything about the canonized stuff with Star Wars, he's a huge role. Right. And they had already killed that boy. And Vader specifically said, I could care less about him. Let's focus on the task at hand. Let's go get this dude. So I'm like, wait a minute. In the canonized Star Wars, he ain't getting killed. But I get it. Marvel takes, Disney takes liberties.
The Grand Inquisitor did die, but he came back, right? He got killed, but he came back. So and they used it in Rebels. I watched Rebels. I watched Rebels, and I watched a little bit of Rebels, and I watched a little bit of Bad Batch. So really when you begin to start thinking about this, I watched a lot of Rebels actually. Yeah. Now that I think about it, and a little bit of Bad Batch. Yeah. But the gist of the matter is here, when we're talking about this whole thing with Vader, I do believe that, and I can see it. We're moving fast. We're moving exceptionally fast. And, they did try to fill in, when the fire was there and, he drug him through the fire. I was saying, okay, wait a minute. Obi-Wan had no visible. The older Obi-Wan had no visible burn marks, so they only burned his arm, right?
Yeah.
And but here's the two things, and this is where, because I always get insight, and I love giving this to you guys on Marvelous Talk, really.
Mm.
So, Obi-Wan's still dealing with the trauma and the guilt of him thinking he failed Anakin. And Big G just mentioned this earlier, right? Obi-Wan's dealing with that trauma and the guilt. Anakin is dealing with the hate that he feels. So that pride and arrogance is like, yo, I'm a toy with you because I know I got you. You whooped me before, but I got you now. You're soft. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's where I had another problem with this episode. It's because of the simple fact that, I mean, I get you got PTSD basically.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're shocked and you can't use none of your Jedi powers. But man, he whooped him like a rag doll. I just can't believe that Obi-Wan is that he's away for now. I can't believe it. You know what I'm saying? You just force choked him and slapping him around, calling him Susan. I'm like, man, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Obi, you can't do nothing. But
I was even shocked
in the previous episodes.
Right. I was even shocked that he just didn't push the fire out the way and okay, I want to, and because the issue was he told the stormtroopers, get him, right? So I'm gonna push the fire out the way, go get him, right? And it was like he stood there and was like, well, I guess he got away. That's not the Vader I know is finish him. Let's get it. So like I said,
Force jumped over the fire, right?
Right, right. I love, and maybe they're playing on the fact that Vader is just now being Vader with his arm attachments and his leg attachments, because his suit did look a little bit different. He had different lights and stuff on his legs and arms. Right. He's always had that box, but now he's got it on his arms and his legs. And I'm like, wait a minute. So maybe they're playing on the fact of he's just now into this, to where he can do what he's doing and actually fight. And so he might be playing like he's the strong man, but in all actuality, he's weak too. So it might be two guys that are scarred and weak, just, going at it. And they really, Obi-Wan don't have he ain't did nothing for 10 years. He's out of shape. And Vader's just now coming off a rehab. So it's like they're playing on each other. But like I said, it's just they moving real fast.
So G, I think that too, and I think pride. Like I said, pride is Vader's toying with him. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna make him suffer. I don't want him to die quick. I want him to I want to make him suffer the way I'm suffering.
Right.
He's in pain every day. You know what I mean? I do think at some point, and I'm gonna ask you first. How do you think we're gonna end this plane? How do you think we're gonna land this plane? Do you think the big battle is gonna be against Obi-Wan and Vader again, or do you think the battle is gonna be against Reva and Vader?
Oh well, I got mixed feelings about Reva, right? I got a theory. And I might be wrong, but I got a theory about what she's doing. I think Reva is not just mad at Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think Reva's mad at Anakin Skywalker. And I think that her hate and anger is being masked and disguised. And I don't think Vader can pick up on it yet. And I think that her thing is I'm going to catch Obi-Wan so I can get close to Vader. And I'm gonna kill both these jokers, right? I almost think that I think some kind of way she's not Seth, but she ain't Jedi neither. She's got hate for both of them, right? And we even saw that in an episode when she saw the crescent of the Jedi on the wall, she tore the room up, right? But I also think that there's a little sinister subplot where she might be the one that tries to kill Vader in the end. Because we know, this is what we know. Obi-Wan Kenobi's got to survive. Princess Leia's got to survive, right? Darth Vader's got to survive. So we as far as main characters, we're down to a small pecking order. We already lost
Some of y'all gonna have to go. Somebody got to go.
The Grand Inquisitor, he's already out of here. So we done chopped this thing down to maybe 2-3 people that we done seen in all these episodes. And we know Leia's parents got to live too, and we know that, and we haven't even went back to Tatooine, and so we know that Luke and Luke's aunt and uncle, they got to live too. So we down to a little bit, right? So that's why I said the climatic scene, and my theory might be off, but I think where she's playing two sides to the coin. She wants power regardless of what it is. If she could get full-blown Jedi power and be the man, be the person that runs the Jedis, she won it. If she could get full-blown Sith power, where she's the one and she takes out Vader to move her up the ranks to get close to the Sith Dark Sidious, then okay, yeah, she's the one. But I think that's where they're going, and I hope that doesn't disappoint a lot of Star Wars fans that love the first 2 episodes, fill in the third one a little bit, but then messes it up at the end. Because then
Star Wars fans are fickle. Star Wars fans are fickle anyway. They're throwing hate towards the actor who plays Reva right now. A lot of racial tension, and we need to stop that. We definitely need to stop that. That should not be. I just want to put that in there. Shouldn't be at all. And I'm glad that Owen actually, the actor who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi spoke up and said, we're with her. We're definitely with her as an artist. She is playing her part to the plate where you're mad at her. I get it. I understand. It's like Samuel Jackson and Django. I was mad at him. But it's one of those things where there is no space for hate or racial tension anywhere in this episode or inside of Star Wars. Now, back to this. My thing here, and my theory, is that the character that Han's playing is going to give up to Vader. I think he's going to allow Leia to get away with Obi-Wan so that Reva now has to face the music with Vader. Right?
Okay.
And I think when he does that, the big fight scene is going to be between him and her, and one of them's going to go. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's gonna defeat Reva. Either way it goes, I think Reva bites the bullet. You know what I mean? Right. I think she's the one that bites the bullet in this, and at the end of this whole thing. And I think it ends with Darth Vader, actually being wiped, his mind being wiped. And like I said before, I said this, you guys. I said it. Y'all know I said it. I think the way that this ends is the way it began. Obi-Wan looking over Luke, just, watching, making sure that he's fine. Because see, in this point, Vader had no knowledge of Luke, nor had he no knowledge of Leia. So
he doesn't.
We have to keep that separate too. Right. And with Reva having a Leia, right? There has to be some kind of separation, and I don't know how we're going to resolve this whole thing with the senator, knowing that the senator has access to Obi-Wan Kenobi. How we're going to keep that separate now? Tell me how we're going to keep that separate.
Well, we already know. We already know
that not a Sith Lord at all. Darth Vader's the only Sith that we have. Right. What's going on?
Vader and Palpatine that we know of that are still, but there's Maul still running around somewhere too, but in 2 pieces. But anyway, Reva we know has got superpowers as far as reading folks' minds. So we saw at the end of the episode where she's after Leia. Now, if she gets her or not, we don't know, but we know that we're going to see that, right? So if she gets Leia, she's gonna be able to look at her mind. She's gonna know exactly who Leia is, right? So that's going to be like they're going to play on that too, because does Reva give that information to Vader and say, Vader, that's your kid, But we know it's not going to happen. But I think they're going to play into that, right? And then we also sort of know that Qui-Gon Jinn's got to show up eventually, and I think that's the part, or that's the path that Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to ride on. Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to ride on the fact that he is going to make peace with himself and make peace with the fact he's not a failure. And that's going to open up his ability to start to talk to Qui-Gon. Because right now, he's in so much trauma right now that he can't even fight, right? So, but I think at the end, right, so when they land the plane, you got to have him have peace with Qui-Gon, right? And so, and that's why I'm like, man, I don't know from a cliffhanger episode who can show up that's going to make it, like, man, did you see that episode? Because they
does Yoda show up?
I doubt it, but we didn't think we was going to see Vader this fast either. So right now, anything can happen. Yoda could come up off of Tatooine and show up somewhere and do something magical to Obi-Wan to heal him. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen.
Well, Yoda's in Dagobah. So I wonder if we're going to see Yoda. Because I thought about that. I was like, okay, I wonder if we're going to see Yoda like really get at Obi-Wan, like, man, get up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Stop doing all this whining, man. Stop being a wafer. Get up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's either you do or do not. You ain't doing nothing. Get up. You know what I'm saying? Right. I feel like something is gonna have to happen to shake Obi-Wan. I mean, you just got drugged through the fire, bro. You just got drugged through the fire on your shoulder, and Vader just kind of he literally mopped the floor with you. I mean, he took you and mopped you with his hand, with the Force, actually, and it was just it's sad. So. Maybe I know we're gonna see Qui-Gon. Right. I think we see Yoda. I think that's how the episode is kind of gonna take shape. I think Yoda's gonna help us save the day, and then Yoda's gonna finish teaching Ben how to commune with Qui-Gon, and then he's gonna be off back to the Dagobah system. But maybe not. Maybe we don't see Yoda. Maybe we don't see Yoda, and like I said, that happens too. So G, one last thing, parting shots. Does it get better? You think that it gets better these next couple of episodes, or you think that we've seen the best?
I think that they should have waited to show the big reveal of Vader and Obi-Wan go at it on the last episode, right? Because it's like what's left, so maybe it does. Maybe we just don't know. Like that they got something really saved for us that they're going to see that, everybody's going to be like, oh, wow. But I just wish that they would have waited until the last episode to show Vader fight Obi-Wan, right? Because we saw even the assembly of Vader in his costume in the trailer. So now we just saw the payoff for that and see him actually, okay, Vader's actually assembled as Anakin Skywalker, and he's fighting, right? So if this can't be the climax. So do I hope that it gets better? Please, right? Because if not, there's going to be a lot of Star Wars people who are extremely disappointed that this thing didn't have what it needed to rejuvenize or regenerate the Star Wars legend or legacy that's tied to those books and novels and movies. I hope it gets better. I don't know if I was going percentage, I'd say 50-50. Maybe not. Right? We'll see. But I hope it does because it's been good so far. But like I said, to me, they almost put like an end in the middle. Right. So I'm like, okay, what are y'all doing over at Disney Plus? Is it something that y'all are trying to tell us that something's going to go down and we don't understand? Because we don't this, Mod, and I got to just really point this point out. This story has nothing to do with Luke Skywalker. This story is about Ben Kenobi and his trauma, the rebirth of Anakin Skywalker as Darth Vader, some Inquisitors, and his relationship with Leia. That's what this show is about. So if they turn it, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do because I don't think we're going to go back to Tatooine until at the very end. I don't see Ben back, and I agree with your point. At the end, we'll see Ben back on Tatooine, watching Luke and talking to Qui-Gon. So this is about Leia. This is really more about Leia than it is Aunt Luke and about the hate that's inside of Anakin and Ben's
And
post-traumatic stress
the
disorder.
hate is big. It's some big hate. I like I said, I see the Leia Obi-Wan connection really strong.
Yeah.
Right. I see that for real, you know. And Senator Orgama, I wonder where do we go from here? Do they get assassinated? You know, I honestly feel like that Yoda has to come.
Yeah.
You're gonna need Ben's gonna need help at this point. He's gonna need help. I don't think Qui-Gon is quite enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have to have Yoda come back from Dagobah like, yo, I'm finna clean house and I'm finna handle up. I'm finna take out all these Inquisitors and I'm gonna grab Lee and we out of here.
I know somebody that's gonna be real upset if that happens. And his first name starts with an M and his last name starts with an X. And y'all fill in the rest.
I'm just saying. I know somebody that ain't gonna be too happy about it too. MK is his initial. MK. So definitely, G man. I really think I agree with you. This is a really, really good series, and I'm excited to see how we land this plane. Definitely, you guys. I thank you for rocking out with me and G for this time. Just checking us out. And like I said, if you like what you hear, make sure you like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, so that way when we go live, you will be here and know that you can catch it, man. Get this. We will definitely be here, talk Ms. Marvel talk on Saturday, and we'll be talking some more Obi-Wan Kenobi on Saturday as well. Until then, man, we out. Peace.